Just now, during our break, we actually have also another discussion of the Madhyamaka. It wasn't a really break, but it is interesting. I think we have a few good questions. But first, what we talk about is that this I think I would like to share here because you know why the Madhyamaka so much, why they're putting so much effort, or there's so much emphasis of emptiness. Wow, looks like they purposely wrote those all these texts, Madhyamaka texts, for debating other philosophies, for negating other theories, for it looks like for just want to surpass them others, surpass, right? Looks like that, but actually, also Chandrakirti himself said in this Madhyamaka Avatara text, if you do debate with so much attach your own theory and anger to other theories, then it's nothing different to having argument, normal, the fighting with others. No matter how which kind of theory or which kind of tradition you are so much attached. So if the debating is motivated by attachment and anger and ignorance, then it's kind of no matter what kind of subject you are debating, which really we should avoid it. So this actually can, we think, many ways. For example, like some like fanatic Buddhism, they just only think we are supreme religion or something like that, and looking down other religions or other atheists or something like that. Well, that's also we should avoid like that kind of attitudes, even among the Buddhism as well. So another thing just now, because right now we ordinary, as we are ordinary beings, we are dominated by our emotions and desire or attachment, anger, jealous, all those things. Whenever we have this kind of emotions, it's proving us to have a strong grasping things are truly exist as we see, as we heard, as we feel. So Nagarjuna and Madhyamaka, they want to us to reduce this defilement. They want us to remove this defilement. In order to remove or reduce this defilement, that we need to make softer our grasping, or have to remove the grasping to things, So in order to remove this grasping or clinging things are truly exist as we see, there's only one way. It's the first to establish the object of the grasping. We have to negating in the grasping, with logic, with proof. So the Nagarjuna and the Chandrakirti, they are bringing the dependent origination, not arising, or those things, the logic is trying to establish the object of the grasping, trying to negating the object of the strong grasping, strong clinging. Once can prove or negating the object of the grasping, then grasping itself is spontaneously disappear. For example, having strong grasping rope as a snake. If we using the torch show that it's to the person who have an illusion a rope is a snake, to show the torch and the object of his snake, or with the grasping is a snake, it's just a rope. So then he's it's enlightened him. It's making him see the reality. Then spontaneously terrified, all those things will be no more. It's the same analogic, same thing. So these Madhyamaka all logics are establishing the object of their grasping are not truly existed. Although, these strong emotions are the proving we are having strong grasping, things are truly existed as we see, as we feel, as we heard. That's the one thing. The another thing, can you repeat your question again?
Okay. My question was, I am a bit confused about the meaning. Yes, I'm a bit confused about the meaning of the word middle way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand middle way is in between two extremes, but listening to you, especially from the previous weekend, the Bhumi things are quite extreme. so maybe the meaning of middle way is actually different from the conventional one.
Thank you. So I also really want to discuss with you is the middle way, what Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti means. So you remind me in this, middle way, what Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti means, middle way. Middle way doesn't mean that something exists between two extremes. In Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti, the middle way means is just avoiding or negating the two extremes. It doesn't mean there is something like establishing something in the middle of the two extremes. This is it's a little different from many other middle ways. The most of the whoever is saying the middle way, they are trying to establishing the something there between two extremes. Then another thing in Madhyamaka philosophies, they use middle way for introduce ground middle way, path middle way, result middle way. So the middle way, they using this the middle way when they establishing the ground of the object of the knowledge, which is the true truths, and then the path, which is the union of the merit and the wisdom. The result, which is also union and the dharmakaya and the nirmanakaya. All we use the middle way. And when we as you said, like Bhumis, those are really looks extreme because it's inconceivable our perception, kind of a very difficult to imagine like such a one can have that kind of qualities and that kind of this looks really extreme. For example, like first Burmese, in one moment they can go 100 different universals. That's a far more extreme for ordinary sense. But this is still in Buddhism, one really talk about really the middle way view. When we really talk about emptiness view, then it means, the middle way means is that Nagarjuna not negating any appearance, any ordinary sense. Nagarjuna not negating this like appearance. That's why Nagarjuna saying we are this abandoning the nothingness or nihilist. This negating nihilist. And also Nagarjuna establishing in a reality that there's nothing to can grasping. Establishing this Nagarjuna proving nothing you can grasping in a reality by showing many different logics. For example, not arising. In a reality, the not arising. This one is negating the eternalism. Eternalism, and extreme. So in having this kind of the middle, the between this, there's not establishing something to exist between these, but only just negating extreme edge. Cutting the grasping extreme way. So this will make us to not fall in any extreme. That is what called the middle way here. So in a path, when we path, the middle way is using a little bit different way. If you only too much in the wisdom side, there also you're already extreme way path. If only you're too much on in the method part, then also you're already kind of extreme way. So if you balance wisdom practice and wisdom and the method, then you are on the way of the middle one path. And something like so, and also, and then when establishing the result ground, ultimate ground, Buddha stage, because even Buddha fully awakened, but still, for sake of us, appear Nirmanakaya, form kayas. That also negating nihilism. But the Nirmanakaya itself is now different from Dharmakaya. You know but the real Dharmakaya. So it's also avoiding this kind of eternalism. So that's how they explain. But right now, in the common sense, because middle way they're using many political teachings also using middle way now. You know that then different many philosophies to trying to explain middle way because they're all not happy with the two extremes.
It's interesting you mentioned about nihilism because Western philosopher like Schopenhauer
Okay.
It's interesting that you mentioned about negating nihilism,
Mm-hmm.
because Western philosophers, like the German philosophical
Mm-hmm.
school of Heidelberg, Schopenhauer,
Mm-hmm.
was actually very much influenced by Buddhism,
Mm-hmm.
and he was actually became a nihilist. And then Schopenhauer influenced on Buddhism Nietzsche,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Okay.
became nihilist.
Okay. So then also I want to tell you, among the Buddhism, the four schools have a different view on the Madhyamaka, middle way. You know, Nagarjuna and his follower, we have the explain middle way. It's not middle way for the Chitamata school, Vibhashika school, Sarvatantrika school. They think it's two extremes. They think it is nihilist. Chitramata school and Santantrika school and Vibhashika school think Nagarjuna is nihilist. Nagarjuna's follower is already fall in a nihilist way. Nagarjuna even called them what called opponents of substantial entity. So that means Nagarjuna even named them eternalism. Yeah, you know why? That's because between Nagarjuna and other Buddhist schools have a different concept on the middle way. Nagarjuna thinks if whoever have a theory of something inherently or intrinsically existed, that means you are already fall in eternalism view. And whoever and think, whoever negating even ordinary appearance, whoever negating law of karma, which obviously we can experience in this relative level, and whoever negating kind of reincarnation, that's a Buddhist specific theory. So those are already fall in nihilist. So Nagarjuna, when we say Nagarjuna saying that Chitramata school fall in two extremes, the mind-only school. Why? Because the mind-only school, even a relative level, they do not accept the form art existed. Even a relative level, mind-only school say that all things are just our mind. Mind itself exists, but the object of the mind are not exist. This mind-only school say like that. So Nagarjuna said, you when you establishing the object of mind, you already fall in nihilist. But Chitramata also accept the mind is truly existed. The subject are truly existed. When you accepting your mind, you already fall in a eternalist extremes. So, because how can you prove that it's extreme? How you can prove? Because will show all the reasoning what Chitramatra trying to prove mind truly exists. You know that like Chandrakirti, he showing then invalidity. What Chitramatra brought all the logic of to proving the mind is truly existed. You know, those logics are shown by Chandrakirti, like in the all logics are invalidated. So once they it can prove they are extremes. So that's the Nagarjuna. So Nagarjuna's middle way means is they are also, in it's a complex, it looks like complicated here, the middle way. When we establishing the common emptiness, and when we establishing uncommon emptiness, there are two levels of the emptiness. So the uncommon emptiness we will talk tomorrow. It will be more looks extreme, but we will talk about it tomorrow. And so today, when we establishing common emptiness, then how they describe extreme of eternalism, extreme of the nihilist, is just what I mentioned to you few times in earlier. For example, if you think or accept, or if you negating appearance or relative truth, then already you are already in the nihilist. If you accept anything that truly existed, it's already you are eternalism. So, to negating these two edges, then the things are not truly exist in reality, but it appear it like it's just a reflection of moon on the water, or reflection of your face on the mirror, or mirage, or like illusion, movie, cinema, all these kind of things, just like this, showing this is a middle path. So another middle path we will talk tomorrow. Okay, so then I also, just for it will make to have link to study more in the future, I will share another the major reasoning for establishing of the emptiness. Another one of the 5, which is analyzing the result. This is also really interesting. Nagarjuna himself is mentioned in his work, 5 Stages of the Logics. And Chandrakirti also, just 2 lines in his work in here, also mentioned this, brought this, said that, okay, if anything is truly existed, or if any result is truly or inherently existed, then, okay, let's say, what kind of result was emerged by cause? Just think about it. What kind of a result was emerged by cause? The result or arising or derive, arising or originated by cause. What kind of result? The question is, what kind of a result is originated by cause? The result which already exists one at the cause time, or result which didn't exist in the cause time. In cause period, where the cause produce the production, cause and condition produce the result. Now, what kind of production has been produced by the cause and condition? The result which already exists one, or the result which didn't exist one? So they're trying to answer to me. So then you are already kind of a madhyamaka path. I mean, you are not accepting the result as truly existed, right? But right now this question is to giving to who believe the result are truly existed. So you're trying pretend to behold the result that truly existed. Then answer to me. So what he said, what is this logic? If a cause and condition produce the result which did already exist one, then Sam, then what's the point? If the result already exists in the cause and condition time, then what's the point to, just already there, then what's the point? What's the point of the cause and condition? So if the result didn't exist in the cause and condition time as the same like a rabbit home, then how can they make it do exist? If you need to function something, or you need to work with something, and then you need something should be exist. Otherwise, you cannot work. Can you make anything rabbit home? Can you make rabbit? Because you can't. Because rabbit home has never existed. Doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, how can you make it any something? So during cause and condition time, if the result didn't exist, that cause and condition, how they work with the result, to make a change or to something like that. So in this question, the result in fact didn't arise. In fact, it wasn't arising. This is another logic. Interesting, isn't it? It's making a little bit sense? Okay. Then today we were talking about a little bit on some subject in last weekend, and also we were talking about more dependent origination, which is a very important one, and also this analysis of the result. So this thing, if we have some sense of this logic, then it's actually will make it really easy to study and understand the whole Madhyamaka. Then many, of course, the details, each and every stanzas have a lot of meanings, but if you really understand the real point, then it's make it very easier for all, these things. And then tomorrow we will talk about more. I also would like to talk about a little bit more how Chandrakirti using charity for establishing of the selflessness of a person. But I want to say to you that this reasoning, like any kind of this five major reasoning, can establish that all the phenomena are not truly existed, or can establish the emptiness. But it depends according our kind of interests and tendencies. Some logic doesn't work for me, and maybe it's work for you. And for example, like not arising, maybe it doesn't work for you. Dependent origination work for you very well. So we have a many variety types of the people. Therefore, Nagarjuna repeating again and again, showing many different logics. Like the purpose is like that. It doesn't mean that one logic cannot establish selflessness of phenomena, selflessness of a person. But the selflessness, so in a text, it's in the 6th chapter. First, Chandrakirti using this not arising logic to establishing of the selflessness of phenomena, and then second, he also using the charity, the bullying by a horse, chariot, using the 7 point found of charity and the establishment of this selflessness of person, there's also another very kind of a very nice logic to establish it. But either one of this logic can establish it for all the phenomena. The charity it's not only establishing selflessness of person, but it's also can prove that selflessness of the phenomena. Not arising logic also can establish selflessness of phenomena and selflessness of person, can apply everything. But the only thing is that it depends on which logic makes sense more to you. It depends on individual's merit or individual's interests, individual's tendencies. These are the only things. And then we will talk about more like beyond from four extremes. These four extremes is different from four extreme arising. The four extreme arising, what we are talking